everybody. My name is Ellisa Cooper, and this is Cooking in Quarantine. So today is going to be a variety of things, and I've just realized that a new camera setup is not exactly correct. So excuse me while I try to make a tiny tweak. Anyway, so here we are. Now can we get back where we can see? I think maybe we're here. So here's what I've done. I've got a few things happening today. I have flaxseed oil sitting out here on the cupboard. Let's put that over here. We don't need to see it. So today I have done this. I have a little bit of lasagna sauce left over from the weekend. So here I have taken a little fusilli and I just let a little water sit on it. Just put some cool tap water on it. And now look, it's nice and flexible. So now I know that I don't have to do anything but put some sauce and some cheese and put it in and bake it. So I am just going to put all of the leftover sauce here on this. And I can spread it out a little bit. And so since I had such a super cheesy, what am I trying to say, lasagna this weekend, what I'm going to do here is just put a little Parmesan on it. And I have over here my handy dandy grater. And because I'm not really looking to make this perfect, this is a leftover thing, I'm going to grate it on the roughs on the big side because I think it will grate a little faster. And I know that I have subjected you guys to watching me grate for far too many minutes, if not hours, over these last couple of weeks. So I guess there's some good news today. It seems from my reading that the 8 o'clock curfew seems to have largely dealt with the problem that was the looter, that people seemed to go home and observe, at least here on my neck of the woods. So there's that. And hopefully we can continue to enjoy the peaceful protests that have been happening globally and justifiably, and shut down the cities enough so that the people who, the outside agitators and bad actors who are doing the looting and the destruction of property can no longer do it because they will not have the crowds to hide in. So there's step one in what we're doing today. So let's see, what are we going to do next? So anyway, what I'll tell you is I have over here, I had some parsley, and let me give you a little bit more. Good afternoon, Carolyn, and good afternoon. I saw Denise here earlier. I'm sorry. With a new device, I'm having a little bit of adjustment problem. But anyway, so I have over here my little handy dandy Cuisinart mini prep, and I have taken some cilantro and some mint, which I had, and I am going to just make myself a little mint base, or a little chopped base. I'm going to put just a little salt, a little pepper, and then a little olive oil, and chug, and put that into a little handy container, right? And then I will be able to scoop this out and use it with any kind of meat. I've been finding that just throwing a little extra olive oil, a little extra vinegar or citrus, and bada bing, you've got an amazing, quick, and easy salad dressing. If you've got a few extra seconds, then go right ahead and put it back in your mini prep with an avocado or some Greek yogurt or something to create a creamy dressing. It's just such an invaluable thing to keep around the house. And that's really as simple as it is. Just some whatever. And if you want it, if you prefer basil, if I had basil, I'd be putting basil in it. So there's that. And here I'm going to also, oh yes, the one thing that still needs to go over here in this is you definitely want to put some garlic. in there. So I'm gonna see if I can reach back in here and grab my big old flat knife. And I realize I have not gotten my angle right. Well, that's one way to send garlic flying, isn't it? So here we go. One nice big fat clove of garlic here. Perfect. And there is that. Almost. My goodness. Ah, I fight with the skin so often. So anyway, here we go. And then I'm just going to cut that into a couple pieces. And I'll add that also here. You can always add some garlic, that's for sure. Anything in that family is always good and good for you, right? So anyway, the other thing I thought I'd do, I have a couple of peppers here that are on the edge. So I'm going to start up all of my flames and pull them down nice and tight. And let me set this up on its tail. There we go. Pull the flame in nice and tight. And there we go. Almost. There she goes. Get her caught. So now I'm just going to let these guys sit here. This is going to take another 10, maybe even 15 minutes. I'm going to let them completely blacken all the way around. And because I'm also going to make some roasted garlic today, I think I'll also put these into some foil and put them in the same oven in which I'll roast my garlic. I'll then spew all that garlic out again into a little wide mouth flat ball jar. Now I've got flavor galore. So I'll have roasted peppers here. Roasted peppers are great on salads. Roasted peppers are great in dressings. They're just great to have around. I kind of made a little commitment to myself. It's been just over 4 years since I stopped smoking tobacco. And that whole year I had made a laundry list of commitments to myself. To renovate my apartment, to give up artificial sweeteners and anything that was artificial remaining in my diet. And I just a laundry list among them was smoking, so I quit smoking. The one thing I do need to address is that I think, like so many people, once they give up an oral habit, another oral habit takes its place. And so I would like to address that issue. So I started thinking about my, people talk about their COVID-15. I have my tobacco 15 that needs to be combated. And so I started thinking about how can I combat this, Luckily, it's summertime or getting towards summertime. And we're being released ostensibly next Monday to be able to resume some activities here in New York. So getting out and not worrying about there being so few people that you feel vulnerable that's gone. So we can get out and get some exercise. But I'm not 30 years old anymore, so I probably need to address some issues, not just as I did when I was 30, but like as I did with 30 and then times 30, right? So I looked back because I think about 30, because, didn't we all look great at 30? From 30 to 40, I was like, right. And so I realized that I had followed, this was, when I was 30, it was at the time when the South Beach diet and keto was still called Atkins and all that kind of thing. And so, but I realized that what I followed at that time was a protein, leafy greens, champagne diet that included a lot of micronutrient supplements. I stumbled across a book that suggested that because our soils are so depleted, our foods are depleted, and if our foods are depleted, then our bodies are depleted. And so I dug that old book back out and looked at it and have put myself on a vitamin and mineral program. And the other thing that it talks about is that giving up wheat is the fastest and easiest way to stop weight gain, to curb weight gain, And I also know that if I stop drinking for a substantial period of time, call it 5 or more days, that it kickstarts always a little weight loss. So I'm going to try my best to address those few issues here in the next few weeks. And so I'm guessing that as cooking in quarantine changes, as our reality of quarantine changes, that will have to be one of the first things that I address. So that's kind of where I am and what I'm thinking about. My peppers here are starting to blacken up really nicely. And I don't know that there's much else to say, guys. The world is in justifiable turmoil, to my way of seeing. Our leaders have squandered their the rights that the rights and responsibilities that the voters have given them. And we reap what we sow. I said to a friend yesterday, I am sorry that white people are so lousy. So that's just the way I feel about that. And I will reiterate that we are to love our neighbor as ourselves. And if you treat your neighbor like shit, you need to stop and think, because you're probably treating yourself like shit too. Alyssa's philosophy for the day. So instead of treating your neighbor like shit, I'm going to recommend that you pull your big girl boys and panties on and get out and go do something positive in the world. Recognize, as I do, my life, the life that I live, is not possible if I were not a white, upper middle class white lady with a good education. And that was a foregone conclusion, that all of those things would happen for me the day I was born. And it doesn't seem to matter how badly I try to screw my life up, it just keeps sailing on. And I don't have to worry about things that other people have to worry about every day. It never occurs to me that I might be harmed in the streets. As a matter of fact, I, not too long ago, stopped some fella from accosting a young lady in the street and walked her out of a violent situation, because when I said I'm going to call the police, and the fella said, yeah, you call the police, you saw her hit me. And I said, no, what I saw was a man putting his hands on a woman in anger. And who do you think the police are going to believe? My way of seeing or yours? So I know that I used my white privilege, that I pulled that girl out of a situation where a man had followed her for blocks and no one had come to her aid. So yeah, I used my white privilege. Fuck yeah. But I took that cute little Latina girl out of the hands of that Middle Eastern boy and saved her fucking life. And I will not apologize for that. But the rest of it is bullshit. I don't ever have to worry. I live in a safe neighborhood where the tax base is great enough that the police aren't ever going to mess with us, right? But if you don't live in a neighborhood like that, immediately your life is different. So all I can say, guys, is take this day, this time, these weeks, these last few days of absolute lockdown, and search your soul and figure out, for every person that you come across in this life that you are sharp-tongued with, why is it? Because that comes from you, not them. That's your sin to face, not theirs. And so examine yourselves. That's all I can say. Examine yourselves. There is an enormous amount of reading you can do to take the scales off of your eyes, but you got to do it. So anyway, guys, not a very, not the time for upbeat and, but the time for contemplation. It is time to remember that if you're white, you don't get to have an opinion about this. Sorry, you don't get to have an opinion. This is your fault, and you've had 400 years to do better, and you haven't. Not one of us has done better like we should. So shut up, sit down, and listen. And with that, this is Cooking in Quarantine. I'll see y'all tomorrow.